Just thought I'd give you a little update on my Hilleberg Niak, which I've now used several times since I got it. But first though, I'm a bit cheesed off. I fell into the river. Just now I've got soaking wet socks, soaking wet boots. I mean, who put the river there? Why wouldn't you put it somewhere else? So I fell in it because I was tired walking up the hill with my bag, and I wasn't very coordinated by the time I got to the campsite because it was a long uphill slog. So I was a bit kind of dittering about on my feet with my heavy pack. Stood in a bit of ground to cross the river, the ground collapsed, and that's me, up to my knees in water. I'm getting too old for camping, by the way. However, it's a great spot. Right. Grumpy man goes for a walk. Got wet, cold feet. Slept in a condensation-ridden pit. I'm in Sunart, which is where this little corner of Scotland, very low population, one of the lowest populated parts of Scotland, because the whole place is wet, even when the forecast is dry. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Go for a little walk, shall we? That, by the way, up there is, I don't know how you pronounce it, but Ben Recipole or Reshipole. And I know that there's golden eagles up there, apparently. Whether we'll see one today, I don't know. Anyway, let's go for a walk along the trail further into the Sunart wilderness. Now it's peeing down. Is this my last camping trip? I could be home with my lovely wife and lovely son Jack. Oh. I think we'll call this one my last camping trip. No, it definitely isn't, but God damn it. There's better places to be, boys, but I'm going for a walk anyway and trying to smile. Walking in the rain, heading for the black cloud. What's that? Man-made dwelling, crumbled house of some sort. So that is a disused mine, apparently. And that would be some of the spoils from the mine. And above that sits Ben Reshipole. And the reason I know there's eagles up there is because that was called Eagle Mountain by Mike Tomkies, the author. Mike Tomkies died a couple of years ago, and I met him. I was fortunate enough to meet him. And he was the guy that lived halfway up a roadless loch called Loch Shiel. And his stories are well publicised. He's written many books. And he used to keep his location secret, so the little house called Gaskin on the map, he called it Wildernessy. And this whole area, Sunart and general Loch Shiel area, lived there for 10 years, I think, something like that, with his dog. And used to film eagles. I used to call this Eagle Mountain. And this must be, I don't know, it remains of an old wee house, maybe a miner's set of dwellings, because the disused mine is further down the hills. What a view, the way, that would be their view. Right across the quarry up onto the Eagle Mountain. else? Oh, look, they've got a whole area here. Where's the cloakroom? Where's the ensuite? Wow. It's all fenced off. Very good, now the rain's come back on. Whoa, gotta go! Wow, look at that. That's the bird's eye view of the wee miner's house. And you can see a hearth where they build their fire, and most of the chimney obviously that's now long since collapsed. Fantastic, and as I say, there's their view of Ben Reshipole. Wow, eh? I'm turning around now because when you look up ahead, all that faces me is just bleakness. And if I was 29 instead of 49, I'd run up that. I can't be bothered now. I'm going to go back and explore some more parts of Scotland in the car. Right, I came down a wee bit but then took a side track, a really intriguing looking little side track which takes you up onto Eagle Mountain. So now kind of in the foothills of Eagle Mountain, which is behind me, but it looks, well, we say in Scotland, dreich, completely dreich. Why would anybody want to go up there? Maybe 20 years ago I would, but it's raining, I've got soaking wet feet, and I'm a guitar player, not a hill walker. So that's the view on the other side, and that little snaking, looks like a road, is actually river and path, and my tent's somewhere down in that area down there, and that's looking across towards Moyart. It's all very pretty. So there you go. Thought I'd take a wee closer look at the wee man's house. Nicely put together walls. What would that be then? Maybe it's a partition wall to separate it into two rooms, I don't know. Anyway, so this would be their hearth, and I'll take it up here if I can do this without dying and having a rock slide on me. Have we got a hole up there? Yes, we do, look. So there's your flue. Wow. Let's take a peek at the view again, shall we? Whoa. No bad, no bad. Anyway, I was telling you about Mike Tomkies. By the way, look at this weather, eh? I've been moaning all day about the rain. Anyway, Mike Tomkies was a Hollywood journalist. His story's been told in a book that he wrote called My Wicked Life. And he lived the fast cars, fast women thing. Is that right? Fast cars, fast women? Is it not fast cars, loose women? One of them. One of them was loose. Might have been the car. So he was a Hollywood journalist. He always loved wildlife, and he went to live on a remote island in Scotland called Shona, and then found his way to this wildernessy place on the Loch Shiel to sort of get rid of his previous life thing. And prior to that, a brief stint in British Columbia as well for a short time, where he built a wee cabin. Anyway, so he would film wildlife by carting heavy equipment. This would have been in the 80s probably. Yeah, probably in the 80s. Humping about with this big heavy camera equipment. This is well before digital convenience in all of these hills, and would photograph and film the eagles in the wildlife in the area. He was a real authority on wildcats because he had wildcats around the woods near Gaskin, his home, and no electricity, you know, complete isolation, complete hermit life really. To get to nearest town was this huge undertaking. Anyway, so he lived his life there, and then when his health started to get a wee bit, you know, I think it was early 50s, he moved briefly down to the borders. I think it was Moffat or somewhere, I can't remember, and then down to the south of England. Anyway, I met him because I'd read all these books about wildlife, and I love my wildlife. And you could buy his video, but only if you wrote to him and paid for his video, and he would send it to you. So I got this VHS tape of Mike Tomkies filming eagles, but compared to today's stuff, you wouldn't. It's not a wonderful watch because the quality is not great. But I don't know if anybody else bought it, but I certainly bought it. Anyway, I then decided I was going to go to British Columbia for a 3-week drive and trek around that area on my own. And I'd written to the guy, I don't know why I wrote to him, but he was really kind and he offered to meet me, so I took him up on the offer and I met him somewhere in the borders. I think it was Moffat somewhere, and he was living in a van. So I met the guy. It was great to meet him because for me it was like meeting a hero. And he gave me his map from British Columbia and his mosquito net and a couple of other things. And in return I just bought him a bottle of whiskey because I knew he liked a dram. And so yeah, so the guy died a couple of years ago, a bit sad, but I was delighted to meet him, and this was his area. And he used to traipse about these hills with his camera equipment. Trackless wilderness really. This is not like Glencoe and Ben Nevis where there's trails everywhere. This is rough. Really rough. I mean, I struggled to find anywhere flat enough for a pitch. So that's my wee Mike Tomkies story. So rest in peace, Mike. Maybe I'll see a golden eagle on the way back to the car, I don't know. So I better tell you about the Hilleberg Niak, just a little update then. Would I buy the Niak again? Yes, I would. Was it a condensation pit last night? Yes, it was. So it's just because of the area I'm in. I've camped a few times now in that tent and it's really good. I really like it. I would buy it again. But I struggled to find anywhere remotely level. So I ended up seeing a bit that really wasn't level, but there was enough level bit for my body, like I was lying in a gutter. A dry gutter, but a gutter nonetheless. So I thought, right, I'm going to have to pitch there, and when I get inside the tent, I'll be sleeping in that little gutter. But of course I knew my face was going to be pressed up against the tent wall, so I knew condensation would occur. So I don't really think it's the tent's fault. To be honest, maybe was conscious of it. I was trying to keep my sleeping bag away from not touching the tent wall, so my sleeping bag outer was remarkably okay. Tiny wee bit damp in a couple of places, but it's got that Pertex outer on the sleeping bag. It's a nice one, a Rab. So that I was fine. I was warm and never felt any moisture, but my shoulders, where they were rubbing against the tent wall, and my hat was a bit damp. And if you looked at the tent wall, you could see condensation all around where my face had been and some of the other walls. But it was not like the Acto. I've not been in an Acto. People moan about that. I would imagine that would be a lot worse than a Niak. I also made the mistake of fully closing the fly door. I probably could have done a couple of wee tricks with the zip to increase airflow. But by the way, not really, because there was no airflow last night. It was completely still. So it was asking for condensation last night. So no fault of the Niak. Yes, great wee tent. If you're thinking about buying it, definitely do. It seems very sturdy, really good in high winds, unless it's ridiculous, of course. And the quality and the zips all seem really quite good. So I'm glad I've got the Niak. I'm not on the hunt for any more tents. But yes, last night was not the best night camping. So as I drive home, I will close this YouTube video with a few pictures of the views that I'm getting on the drive home. Thanks for tuning in as always. Bye for now.